My screen is visible? Screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. In this class, we discuss the pathogenesis of common storage disorder in infancy and childhood. Second thing, pathogenesis and pathology of tumor and tumor-like condition in infancy and childhood. As told me, persons who are taking this key, that syllabus I will teach you because there is a lot of in pediatric genetic chapter in on pediatric disease also. So I am discussing that part they given me. Okay, you read this is carefully, and if you have a time, I'll recommend it genetic part. Definitely you read because that many MCQs type came in your pre-PG exams there. Okay, and your medicine also become a clear. And pediatrics, medicine and pediatrics both become a very clear. Okay, so read a whole chapter when you have a time sufficiently. Okay, okay. Now we will discuss. In the first class, we left this single gene Mendelian disorder. Now we will discuss it. Discuss this here. Uh, Mechanism involving in a single gene disorder are classified in 4 categories. First is enzyme defect and their consequences. Second, defect in immune receptors and transport proteins. Third one, mutation in function and quantity of non-enzyme proteins. Fourth are mutation in a resulting unusual reaction to drugs. Okay, now, that is a single gene Mendelian disorders, but having a large effect because there is an enzymes defect, there is a transport defect in receptors, transport systems. If there is a changes in structure, function, and quantity of non-enzyme proteins, these are changes occur. A lot of large changes. A small effect, large effect. Small changes affect large. Okay. Now coming question. There's a disturbance in background. Some are joining chat now. Unmute yourself all. Okay. Okay. I'll continue. First, enzyme defect and their consequences. Mutation result in defective enzyme synthesis with reduced activity and reduced amount of normal enzyme. If there is mutation occur in the enzymes, that is lead their activity is reduced and normal enzyme concentration is also reduced in a cell. Okay, that leads either case there is a metabolic block. First of all, the enzyme play important part in a metabolism. You read in your small classes, the previous classes in chemistry and biochemistry, the enzymes, the enzyme activity, kinetics, and metabolism. Okay, so here we will discussing some little bit part of pathogenesis here. Okay, if you remember or not remember, are you remember your this biochemistry and chemistry, enzymes, kinetics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, good. Then it's easy to understand. Okay, okay. So what effect is occur if there is a mutation in enzymes synthesis? There is a reduced their activity. The amount of normal enzyme is also reduced. That leads that function is also blocked. That is occurring due to these enzymes. Like there is a first of all metabolic block. Second, it will be lead 3 major consequences. What are these consequences? First is accumulation of substrate because the enzyme play important a substrate. So, then their end product is formed and the end product released in our blood, and that through blood it reach our each and systems and utilize our body. Okay. So first of all, if there is a metabolic block, accumulation of substrate. Second is metabolic block with a reduced amount of end product. If there is a no metabolism, so there is no end product. If there is a no end product, so there is our cells utilize the end product for energy, that is also deficient. Okay, and there is failure to inactivate tissue damaging substrate. If they accumulate the substrate, the accumulated substrate further leads damage the surrounding tissue because the enzymes are not available to inactivate these substrate. So accumulated substrate itself is very toxic to our surrounding tissue. Okay. It's not moving. What happened? Okay. Now to enzyme. First, we read an enzyme defect lead to metabolic block and decrease amount of end product, like that myelin deficiency due to lack of a tyrosinase enzyme result in a clinical condition called as a albinism. Did you see this patient, albinism? Anybody seen? Anybody seen this patient of albinism?
Yes, ma'am.
How is this patient?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
I've
their body is discolored, like it's very light in color, and they're having problems to see in the sunlight because there's a problem of melanin, because there's no melanin in their eye as well. So they have difficulty in seeing, and their body is like very, very, I mean, more fair than I would say the foreigners.
Wow, good, good, good. Very good. Okay. And now, the end product is a feedback inhibitor of enzymes involving the early reaction. If any substrate is metabolized by any enzyme and become an end product. If an end product is an excessive amount, that is do feedback inhibitor for first enzyme. If the end product is absent, there is no inhibition. Okay, the enzyme activity is going continuously. Okay, so the deficiency of end product result in a over production of intermediate products and their catabolic product, resulting injury of the cell and tissue. For example, the disease is Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. Okay. My slide is not moving. What's the problem? Sorry, students, my slides are not moving. I don't know what the problem. Okay. Now it's moving. Okay. Second, as disease, biochemical and molecular basis of enzyme defect. There's an accumulation of substrate depend on the site of block. Accumulation of 1 and 2 intermediate metaboloids like M2 intermediates stimulate the minor pathway, leading to accumulation of M1 and M2. If there is a reaction is going on and stop in between way, then intermediates are accumulate, and these intermediate start the minor pathway of metabolism that leads further intermediate accumulation. Okay, and this intermediate like M1 and M2 become in a high concentration, and that causes a toxic injury for surrounding tissue or any systems like liver or kidney and muscles. Okay, the accumulation of substrate within the lysosome due to deficiency of enzyme result lysosomal storage disease. We are reading here the lysosomal storage disease or glycogen storage disease. Why that disease occur? Due to deficiency of the enzymes that metabolize the fat and glycogens. The disease is occur due to deficiency of their particular enzymes. That is a figure like this substrate, any substrate. Enzyme 1 is catabolized it in an intermediate 1, 2 enzyme catabolize it in intermediate 2. If there is a defect in a third enzyme, these intermediate metabolites start the minor pathway and intermediates form M1 and M2, and these are become a very high concentration. These intermediate, these metabolites also affect our surrounding tissue, and where these are toxic if they are becoming a high concentration, okay. And normal reaction is that substrate, intermediate 1, intermediate 2, and end product. If end product is become a very high concentration, feedbackly inhibit the first enzyme and reaction is stopped. If there is no this end product, there is no feedback inhibition. No feedback inhibition, the reaction is continuously going on. The intermediates become higher and higher. Okay. Third thing is the failure to inactivate a tissue damaging substrate. I told you there's an absence of negative feedback mechanism. So, like example, alpha antitrypsin deficiency patient are unable to inactivate the neutrophil elastase in their lungs. Okay, this enzyme is deficient होता है, तो elastase is working continuously. And elastase is continuously working, lung parenchyma is damaging, and the patient is developed emphysema. Unchecked activity of the protease lead to destruction of elastin in the lung, and alveoli lead to form a pulmonary emphysema. Okay, there's a no end product. I told you end product is act as the negative feedback mechanism on the first enzyme. If the end product is absent, there's a no negative feedback mechanism. So the first enzyme activity is continuously going on, and it can cause a damage surrounding tissue. For example, that in a pulmonary emphysema. Okay, second as disease defect in receptor and transport system. Transport of biologically active substance across the membranes is achieved by two mechanisms, by receptor mediated endocytosis or by a transport protein. Okay, that is the example is familial hypercholesteremia, in which reduced synthesis of complex intermediary LDL receptors lead to defective transport of LDL into cells and excessive cholesterol level is increased. Okay, what happened in the familial hypercholesteremia? The LDL receptors are defective, or reduce in number or decrease in synthesis of this receptor. So there is a defective transport of the cholesterol level. There is no transport of the cholesterol, accumulate excessive cholesterol, and that lead further toxic effect in our body. Cholesterol accumulate in our liver, muscles, and heart, other organs, the blood vessels, get deposits, and further started other diseases. Second thing is the example is like cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis, there is a transport system for a chloride ions in exocrine glands, sweat glands, lungs, and pancreas is defective, because there is a transport system is defective for a chloride channel. Impaired chloride transport lead to serious injury to lungs and pancreas. In a cystic fibrosis, these patients develop very serious injury for lung and pancreas. Like this is the example for a familial hypercholesteremia, and in this figure we can see these LDL receptors. Okay, these LDL receptors synthesized and they are present at the plasma membrane due to, and that is a cholesterol, okay, cholesterol LDL, and that is taken by cell by endocytosis. This endocytosis and form a vesicle, coated vesicles, and this coated vesicles is through endosomes passes in a lysosome. In a lysosome, the lysosome enzymes is catabolized and form amino acid and cholesterols. The cholesterol is further utilized for the cell membrane, making the steroids, hormones, bile, salts. Okay, and excessive amount of the cholesterol is accumulate. Then it causes inhibition of further synthesis of the cholesterols. Also inhibit the synthesis of LDL receptors. Okay, that is a normal mechanism. If there is a defect in these receptors, this metabolism of a cholesterol LDL is stopped and LDL accumulate in our body and the disease is started. That is called as familial hypercholesteremia. Now coming to SDG, alteration in structure, functional and quality non-enzyme proteins. There is a other proteins, the structure protein, functional proteins, non-enzymic proteins. Okay, it has a widespread secondary effect like sickle cell anemia, hemoglobinopathies. There is a protein defect like thalassemia, also associated reduced amount of normal alpha globin or a beta globin chain. What happened in the thalassemia? There's a two type of thalassemia, alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. Okay, alpha thalassemia. What happened in alpha thalassemia? Did you know about alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in alpha
Yes,
thalassemia,
ma'am.
the alpha gene, which is coding for the alpha chain of hemoglobin, they're deleted. And in beta thalassemia, there's a mutation. There's no complete deletion of the gene.
Which chain is absent in beta thalassemia?
Ma'am, in beta thalassemia, there is a frame shift mutation, and that leads to either decreased production or complete absence of the production of gene. There's no deletion of the allele, but in alpha thalassemia, there's deletion on the gene or the allele, which leads to decreased production of alpha chains.
Okay, beta. I'm asking that in alpha thalassemia, reduce the chain of synthesis with the alpha chain, and beta thalassemia
Yes.
reduce synthesis of
Beta
beta
chain.
Okay, that is the mutation is fine. There's a beta frame shift mutation and is a point mutation in the beta thalassemia. But that is a name is alpha thalassemia reduce the alpha chain synthesis. Beta thalassemia reduce the beta chain synthesis. Okay, and the other chain is क्या होगा? जब normal chain synthesis reduce हो जाता है, तो other chain will be accumulated. Okay, like alpha thalassemia accumulate the beta chain. So like BART hemoglobin, beta 4, okay, gamma 4, hydrophys fetalis, that is the gamma 4 chain. In a fetal hemoglobin, we have alpha 2 and gamma, alpha beta. Normal hemoglobin, but what are the chains are present in a normal hemoglobin?
Alpha 2, beta
Alpha
2.
to beta 2.
Yes. So alpha 2 and beta 2 is the normal hemoglobin HbA. Okay, in that fetal hemoglobin HbF have
Alpha to gamma 2.
Alpha to gamma 2.
Okay, chalo, good. Chalo, next we carry on. Genetically defective structure protein include collagen, spectrin, dystrophins. These are present in osteogenesis imperfecta. Now coming to SDG, genetically determined adverse reaction to drugs. There is some adverse reaction. Some patient we see during okay, you didn't go your clinical posting, okay, but listen, our relative about your relatives and कि उसको तो ये ड्रग रिएक्शन कर गया था, उसको तो ये रिएक्शन हो गई थी, उसको तो ये गोली खाई थी, तो उसको ये हो गया था. Did you listen like that? You listen ना or not listen? आपको किसी को है कि ड्रग रिएक्शन होता है, कोई भी ड्रग लेते हैं तो उसकी वजह से किसी को रिएक्शन होती है, होता है किसी के साथ में ऐसा? Anybody happen with anybody? Or did you listen about it? Okay, you didn't listen. No problem. Sometimes when you come in your clinical posting, you will listen in a ward patient. This patient is having some drug reaction. That drug is given this patient on that night, and the patient is developed rashes and the rashes, angioedema, and emergency conditions started. Like that condition, you will listen. Okay, so there is the area of genetics. This area of genetics is called as a pharmacogenetics, where the adverse reaction to drugs. For example, it is associated with deficiency of a glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme deficiency, which on a administration of an anti-malarial drug like pramoquinone result in a severe hemolytic anemia. If the patient have a deficiency of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, if this we gave this patient is a pramoquinone, this patient developed severe hemolytic anemia. Patient is developed hematuria and fever and became a very unstable. Okay. So the each and every persons have their different genetic makeup and their reaction to each drug. Some have a there's as we gave some drugs like iron and folic acid. Some persons respond very well, okay, give a very better effect, but some are not give a better effect. It's depend on their genetic makeup, how to respond these drugs, okay. That will you read in your pharmacology also better than me. but I'm give you some example for the to explain that drug reactions. Okay, some cases genetically affect the drug sensitivity and drug reactions. Now coming to lysosomal storage disease. We know this lysozymes are the intracellular enzymes and known as the intracellular digestive tracts. These are the hydrolytic enzymes. These are act in a acidic medium, and these enzymes are always secreted intracellularly, not extracellularly. Okay, and they, like intracellularly, there is a in this figure we can see lysozymes. Okay, and there is a binding proteins. They are taken up by mannose-6-phosphate receptors and bind with the mannose-6-phosphate, and they from the rough endoplasmic reticulums to they underwent a Golgi apparatus, and Golgi apparatus to they form a vesicle. That vesicle is combined with the lysosome, and the lysosome they further digest in enzymes. So I want to say that there is these enzymes are act intracellularly, not extracellularly. If they act on extracellularly, they will be damage each and every cells. Okay, in a lysosomal storage disease, we saw like the complex substrate. In a normal condition, if all enzymes are present, okay, in this figure, there is a degradation of substrate A, B, and C, and a final become an end product, and the end product is released in blood and utilized by our body cells. Okay, in absence of lysosomal enzyme deficiency, we see there is a substrate accumulate in the cells. There is a without metabolized end product absent totally, and substrate is accumulate in the cells. Cell is enlarged. Cells enlarged, then organomegaly start, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, hepatomegaly. Okay, like this organomegaly start due to storage of this substrates. Now coming to this disease due to lysosomal storage disease, there is these are the enzymes and the major substrate accumulate in the glycogenesis. That is a type 2, also known as Pompe's disease, lysosomal storage disease type 2. And here the deficiency of 1,4-glycosidase enzymes, and there is accumulation of substrate is glycogen. In this lysosomal storage disease, you should remember like Pompe's disease, Tay-Sachs disease, Sandorf disease, and some Gaucher's disease. Keep remember, these are asked many times your theory exams also and your practical exams also. Okay, each and everything is not rememberable, but try to remember these common disease so that you can answer very well and remember them very well. Okay. First is glycogenosis, second is sphingolipidosis. The sphingolipidosis that includes GM1 gangliosidosis, that is type 1 and type 2, and GM2 gangliosidosis, that is Tay-Sachs disease. In Tay-Sachs disease, there is a deficiency of hexominidase enzyme alpha subunit, and the accumulation of substrate is GM2 ganglioside. Whereas in Sandorf disease, there is a deficiency of a hexominidase enzyme beta units, and the substrate is the same is accumulated. That is the GM2 gangliosidosis. In this figure, these are disease. Okay, and how do they act? The affected gene like the alpha gene or in a alpha chain and a beta chain. The alpha chain is chromosome 15 and beta chain on the 5 chromosomes. And there is a deficiency of the activator. Normally, the activator is required. That is, the gene is present on chromosome 5. Okay, and the polypeptide of alpha subunits and beta subunits, they activate further the enzymes. Isoenzymes is hexoaminase A and hexoaminase B. That is for a Sandorf disease. These enzymes, the activator is combined, then they lead a metabolism to GM2 gangliosides. But there is a deficiency of this enzyme. There is activator is deficiency. The complex is not formed, and there is a metabolism is further stopped. Okay, and there is accumulation of this substrate in body. Okay, their accumulation, but lead this accumulation of the substrate. These ganglion cells in Tay-Sachs disease, this is the large cells having a nucleus, and this cell have abundant bubbly cytoplasm, that is a gangliosides that is a substrate is accumulate. And the second picture of a electron microscopy. Okay. And that is showing a portion of a neuron under the electron microscopy, a prominent lysosome with a walled pattern. This is a band configuration, is the configuration of the lysosomes. Now to second most, this is common disease of a lysosomal storage disease, is autosomal recessive disorder resulting from the mutation in the gene of encoding glucocerebrosidase. This disease is most common lysosomal storage disease, and the affect gene is encodes the enzyme glucocerebrosidase. Keep remember, this is the most common disease, and the enzyme involving that is the absence deficiency of the enzymes is glucocerebrosidase enzyme. And what are the morphological changes in this disease? There is accumulation of glucocerebrosidase in a massive amount of phagocytic cells. What are the phagocytic cells in your body?
Macrophages and neutrophils.
Macrophages. Mostly are the macrophages in a tissue. They are macrophages, or also we call it histiocyte also them. Okay, also known they are histiocytes also. ये एक ही स्टूडेंट बोलता रहता है, आपका क्या नाम है? What's your name? What's your name?
Bhavya Pahwa.
हाँ, क्या? What's your name again?
Bhavya Pahwa.
Okay. Yeah, remaining students are sleeping. I started to talking by name. Shruti.
No, ma'am.
Aryan. Subham. You also reply. Okay. Only the girl is reply. Okay, we'll continue. This is the phagocytic cells. Mostly the histiocyte and these macrophages. They engulf excessive amount of this glucocerebrosidase, and these cells are accumulated in all out of the bodies. These cells also known as the Gocher cells also. Okay. Large phagocytic cells also known as the Gocher cells, like this in figure. That is the nucleus, that is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm filled with this substrate, okay, and that is called as a Gocher cells. And the cytoplasm appearance known as a crumpled tissue paper. Many times asked, MCQs also came. What is the crumpled tissue paper? Okay, that is due to accumulation of a glucocerebrosidase and this phagocytic cells in Gocher's disease. There is a storage glycogen glucose lysosomal storage disease, Niemann-Pick disease. That is important. So I am discussing. Okay, the questions is asking about is also, and that is a figure. Here we can see there are the hepatocytes, and these are the large cells are the Kupffer cells. Okay, these cells are there is the accumulation of substrate. Niemann-Pick disease in the in a liver, and the hepatocytes and Kupffer cells having a foamovaculated appearance due to deposition of excessive lipids. And Niemann-Pick disease, there is the okay, and these are the lysosomal storage disease. Mostly lysosomal storage disease, you will read the Gocher's disease, Niemann-Pick disease, and Pompe's disease. Mostly they are asking, okay, about questions are coming about these disease. So read carefully about them. Now coming to second is a glycogen storage disease. Which organ our body is largest organ? Hello.
Skin followed by liver.
Okay, and which organ is known as the factory of metabolism?
Liver.
Okay, so glycogen metabolism mostly occur in liver. Not only metabolism, but storage of the glycogen and metabolism both occur in liver. Okay, so in this figure we will see the glycogen metabolism, and there is a deficiency of the enzymes. Sticks marks in the enzyme deficiency associated with the glycogen storage disease, and the Roman numericals indicate the type of glycogen storage disease associated with the given enzyme deficiency. Okay, so first of all, the glucose is metabolized as a glucose enzyme to glucose 6-phosphate, and glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme lead to glucose. ठीक है, तो first glycogen storage disease is due to deficiency of glucose 6-phosphate. You should remember that is a Roman word along with their enzyme deficiency. You can remember both glycogen storage type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, okay, and along with their deficient enzyme. The type 1 is glucose, type 1 glycogen storage disease, also known as a
One
disease, okay, that is due to deficiency of glucose 6-phosphate, okay. And second glycogen storage disease is
Pompe.
Pompe.
that is due to deficiency of lysosomal
Lysosomal.
that is deficiency of lysosomal acid maltase enzyme, okay. Acid maltase enzyme की deficiency से that is occur, okay. And because the glycogen is present in liver, that is metabolic degradation occur. Acid maltase enzyme is present in lysosome. Deficient this enzyme cause a type 2 glycogen storage disease, okay. And there is a debranching enzyme. Third type glycogen storage is diseases occur due to debranching enzyme deficiency, okay. And fourth type of glycogen storage disease occur due to deficiency of branching enzyme. And there is a glycogen is metabolized mostly in the liver, but few parts is metabolized in muscles also. Muscle phosphorylase deficient cause of fifth and sixth glycogen storage disease.
McArdle.
That is called as a
McArdle.
Good, very good. Padkar aayo, good, very good. And there is a liver phosphorylase deficient cause a liver
Hers.
glycogen storage disease, okay.
Hers disease.
Yeah, good. Chalo, good. सारे स्टूडेंट बहुत अच्छे हो, good. Okay, and you can remember this glycogen storage disease by this figure. Keep in your mind. And there is a deficiency of this enzyme type 1, there is a type 2, type 3, type 4, 5th and 6th, and you can remember this also. And there is the deficiency of phosphofructokinase is 7th type glycogen storage disease.
Tarui.
And there is a three major form of this glycogen storage disease: hepatic form, myopathic form, and miscellaneous form. Hepatic forms I will discuss myopathic forms like this in the figure. Liver, okay, the glycogen storage and synthesis both is occur, okay. Then is the glucose come blood to be utilized in a muscle. In muscle is also utilize glycogen, and glycolysis, by glycolysis it utilize the energy. If there is a deficiency of this enzymes, that lead a deficient of glucose, and that causes muscle cramps in a patient and decrease the lactate level also, and there is no energy available. That's why this patient is the develop muscle cramps, pain in muscles, okay. And other forms are the type 4, type 2nd and 4. The miscellaneous disease, third is the Pompe's disease, we already discussed. Now coming to tumor and tumor-like lesions of infancy and childhood. Okay, only 2% of all malignant tumor occur in infancy and childhood. Very rarely malignant tumors occur in infancy and childhood, okay. Most of the tumors of childhood are benign. And the few specific terminology sometimes asked in your exams, like heterotropia, choristoma, is applied to microscopically normal cells or a tissue that present in a abnormal locations. Normal tissue, there is no malignancy, okay. No benign tumor nor a malignant tumor, only normal tissue that present is a different site, okay. That is called as a heterotropia or choristoma, like adrenal gland tissue present in kidney, okay, or pancreatic tissue present in stomach, okay. Sometimes we see in a microscopy, anybody can start to interpret, is it a benign tumor or is it a malignancy, but there is no any changes. There is no changes of any malignancy, Okay, so that is very carefully we should report and identify to define as a heterotopia or cholestroma. Second term is as a hematoma. What is a hematoma? That is refer an excessive focal overgrowth of cells and tissue native to organ in which it occurs. Hematoma is occur the same native place, not a different place, but tissue growth is very excessive, overgrowth. So that is lesions become a hematomatous lesion. That is also not a benign and malignant tumor. That is called as a hematomatous lesion. Okay. Now coming to benign tumor and tumor-like conditions in children and infancy. Most common is the hemangiomas. Hemangiomas is capillary hemangioma and cavernous hemangioma. Hemangioma are common in infancy and childhood. Capillary hemangioma present mostly at a time of birth. Okay, and slowly, spontaneously, they regress as the babies grow. Lymphangiomas, that is a benign tumor of lymphatics. Dilated channel of lymphatics formed a lymphangiomas. Fibrous lesions. Some fibrous lesions, fibrostic lesions, these are become in the children. Sometimes they also misinterpreted for the fibrohistiocytic malignancy and other type of lesions, the fibrohistiocytoma, MFH, other type of lesions, we can misinterpret it. But in children, mostly these are the benign lesions, not a tumor-like lesions, not a typical tumor. Okay, and fourth one is the teratomas. Teratomas in the children are common. The most common neoplasm of childhood are so-called a soft tissue tumor of mesenchymal derivation. I want to tell you here that is the neoplasm of childhood or infancy, mostly mesenchymal origin. In contrast, in adult, mostly tumors are arise epithelial tumors. Did you read in your previous neoplasia class?
Yes, ma'am.
पढ़ा था ना?
Yes, ma'am.
epithelial tumors होते हैं ना, और बच्चों में मोस्टली क्या होते हैं? mesenchymal tumors होते हैं. ठीक है, mesenchymal origin होता है और adult में epithelial origin होता है. Okay, we can see in this figure. And the figure 1, there is a child at the birth. This is a large capillary hemangioma, looking very horrible. But as the babies grow, slowly these disappear spontaneously. The capillary hemangiomas mostly disappear, and mostly these capillary hemangiomas are present on the face nearby the eyes. Okay, scalp. That is a rare location on the leg, but they are mostly present on the face and scalp. Okay. And the second figure we can see that is a sacrococcygeal teratoma. This is the stillborn baby, birth baby, and see the last sacrococcygeal teratoma. Now coming to malignant tumor. The time. Okay. Malignant tumors. Cancer of infancy and childhood differ biologically and histologically from adult by following. How does these are different from adult tumor? First of all, in incidence and type of tumors. Okay, I told you the mesenchymal tumors are common than epithelial tumor in children. Okay, then relatively frequent demonstration of a close relationship between abnormal development like teratogenesis or a tumor induction, like oncogenesis. It's depend on the development. Second, prevalence of underlying familial or genetic aberrations. They are present mostly underlying any abnormality related to familiar genetic disorder. Okay. Then there are tendency of fetal and neonatal malignancy to regress spontaneously or cytodifferentiate. The tumor of neonates and fetal or childhood are mostly spontaneously regress in contrast to adult malignancy. And these improved survival cure many childhood tumor. Better survival have than an adult. The childhood tumors have a better survival, okay, or better cure rate. That table is also in your Robbins. Most common tumors in 0 to 4 year leukemia, retinoblastoma, neuroblastoma, Wilms tumor, hepatoblastoma, soft tissue sarcomas like rhabdomyosarcoma, teratoma, and central nervous system. Then the age 5 to 9 year, leukemia, retinoblastoma, neuroblastoma remain as such. फिर hepatocellular carcinoma came in place of hepatoblastoma. Soft tissue sarcoma came. Then new tumors started to come, Ewing sarcoma and lymphoma. And age of 10 to 14 year, hepatosarcoma came first, and soft tissue sarcomas, osteogenic sarcoma, thyroid carcinoma, Hodgkin's lymphoma. According to age, that pattern of tumors also change. There is a two most common tumor, I think, in your syllabus. That is a neuroblastic tumor and Wilms tumors. Okay, you read carefully them, and I think your practicals and tutorials, I think, occur on this both tumors. So read them carefully. Neuroblastic tumor. The term is neuroblastic tumor includes tumor of sympathetic ganglia and adrenal medulla that derived from a primordial neural crest cells populating these sites. This derived from neural crest cells. Okay. Neuroblastoma is a most important member of this family. It is a most common extracranial solid tumor of childhood. Most of the neuroblastoma occur sporadically, but 1 to 2% are the familial. There is a germline mutation is known as the anaplastic lymphoma kinase (ALK gene), a major cause of familial predisposition to neuroblastoma. In childhood, about 40% neuroblastoma arise from an adrenal medulloma. Now coming to morphology of neuroblastoma. Okay, growth of this tumor, they occur in a very minute nodule, in situ lesion, also known as the in situ lesion to large mass, more than 1 kg. So size is vary from in situ lesion to very large, the 1 kg size can be occur. Size is variable for a neuroblastoma. Okay, some neuroblastoma are often sharply demarcated by fibrous pseudo capsule, not a true capsule. What is the true capsule and pseudo capsule? Tell me. Anybody can tell me what is the pseudo capsule and true capsule? Hello.
Ma'am, true capsule is fibrous.
Huh?
Ma'am, true capsule is fibrous.
Or pseudo capsule?
Pseudo capsule is it's from connective tissue other than the fibrous tissue.
No, I didn't understand. Extra collection, matlab? I didn't understand what?
Ma'am, a connective tissue other than the fibrous tissue.
No, bache, no.
Ma'am, it's
No.
basically the peritoneum that covers it, ma'am, pseudocapsule.
Okay, so what is the difference? I want to ask the
Ma'am,
difference is pseudo capsule surrounded by pseudo capsule. हाँ, tell me.
यस मैम, कैप्सूल जो होती है वो आसपास के टिश्यू से ड्राइव होती है और ट्यूमर से नहीं, और जो सूडो कैप्सूल होती है ट्यूमर खुद बनाता है.
ट्यूमर खुद बनाता है. Okay. I don't know. Where did you read about it?
Ma'am, true capsule basically a benign tumor को like cover करता है, and it is made from जो cells होते हैं, fibrous tissue and cells का mixture होता है, and pseudo capsule is tumor cells which are compressed. It's not the normal cells which are compressed. True capsule is the normal compressed cells with fibrous tissue, and pseudo capsule is the compressed tumor cells.
Okay, cells. Here is the cells. Which type of the cells? Okay, so I want to tell. Okay, fibrous pseudo capsule. I'm asking you what is the true capsule and what is the pseudo capsule. So you are telling me cells. It's good. Cells. There is an epithelial lining that is called as true capsule. If there is a fibroconnective tissue and underlying epithelium, any epithelium, okay, then it called as a true capsule. Or only there is a fibroconnective tissue. The tumor is surrounded only fibroconnective tissue, that is called as a pseudocapsule. Okay, keep remember there is epithelial lining are surrounded along with fibroconnective tissue, that is called a true capsule. Okay, or only fibroconnective tissue, there is a no epithelial lining, then it called as a pseudocapsule. Okay, keep remember. Now, okay, but other are the far more infiltrating and invading surrounding tumors. Some tumors have a fibrous tissue capsule. Most of these tumors are more infiltrative and invade surrounding structures. On cut section, they are composed of soft and grated tissues. Okay, in this figure we can see. Okay, that is the figure. That is a kidney. This is kidney, and that is a tumor. This is the aorta. This is a renal artery. This is cystic and hemorrhagic. Large cystic है, hemorrhagic है, soft. This is the neuroblastomic tumor. Now coming on the histomorphology of neuroblastoma. The classical neuroblastoma is composed of small primitive appearing cells with the dark nuclear scan cytoplasm, poorly defined cell border growing in a solid nest. Okay, in histomorphology, this is histomorphology. We can see the cells are very small, round, blue cells, scanty. Cytoplasm is totally scanty, and nuclear chromatin is also very fine chromatin. It's a fine chromatin, okay, and they arrange solid nest also. They also arranged in a rosette pattern. This is called a rosette. The central empty space and cells surrounded around it, that is called a rosette. The rosette is type of rosette is here Homer right rosettes. Homer right pseudo rosette. True rosette and pseudo rosette. Again the two conditions came, okay. These rosettes are Homer right. That is also asked many times. What is the Homer right, pseudo rosette and true rosettes? Okay. If there is the any vessel surrounding these cells, that is called a pseudo rosette. Here is Homer right pseudo rosette because here is the neuropils. This is the fine lines are. This is the neuropils. So in neuroblastoma, the rosettes are found in which the tumors are concentratively arranged, central space filled with the neuropils. That is typically neuroblastoma. With rosettes we can see in the Ewing sarcoma also, we can see sometimes in a Ewing's tumor also, we can see sometimes other tumors like is the hepatoblastoma also, and so other tumors also, small round blue cell tumors, desmoplastic tumors also. Okay, there we can see. But the typical features for the neuroblastoma is presence of these neuropils, fine threads. They arrange concentratively and fine threads, and that is called as a neuropils. That's typical presentation for neuroblastoma. And what is the prognostic factor of the neuroblastoma? That is very important. What is the good favorable things and what are the unfavorable things for the neuroblastoma? In stages, stage 1, 2A, 2B, and 4S is the favorable prognosis. What is the 4S here? Anybody know? Everybody left?
No, ma'am.
Oh, no. Okay. Did you understand? No problem. Not understand. No problem. Tell me. Understand? 4S.
Ma'am, these are the stages only.
Huh? 4S is indicate here. Designated for?
Ma'am, 4-year survival.
No, beta. No, that is a special. Okay. In a neuroblastoma, staging is different. Read in your Robbins. That is staging is different. Stage 1, stage 2, A, 2B, 3, and 4 and 4S. 4S is special type. It's a localized form. That is different, special type. That is localized form. That's why it is have a good favorable prognosis. Where the stage 3 and 4, that is a unfavorable. This is infiltrative and diffuse metastatized form. That's why have a unfavorable prognosis. Then second is age. Age below 18 months have a good prognosis. Above 18 months have a bad prognosis. Histologically, if there is evidence of a Schwann stroma and gangliocytic differentiation, okay, that is have a good prognosis, and absent is bad prognosis. I show the picture is typically neuropil and rosetting pattern that have a bad prognosis. And presence of a mitosis and karyotexis index. If that less than 200 per 5,000 cells have a good prognosis, of mitosis more than 200 per 5,000 cells have a bad prognosis. Second thing, DNA plody. If there is a DNA plody is hyperplody or near triplody, then it have a good prognosis. But near diplody have a bad prognosis. And make Amplification, if not present, have a good prognosis. Amplified, bad prognosis. There's a chromosome deletion, like a chromosome gain and loss, like 17 gain, 1p loss, 11 loss. All have a bad prognosis. Track expression have a good prognosis. Track B expression have a bad prognosis, and telomerase expression is low, absent, that have a good prognosis. High expression have a bad prognosis. Okay, now comes to Wilms tumor. Wilms tumor is the most common primary renal tumor of childhood, and the peak incidence of the Wilms tumor is 2 to 5 years. 95% Wilms tumors are occur is 10 year, up to 10 year. Okay, and 5 to 10% of the Wilms tumors involving both kidney, either simultaneously, this is synchronous, or one after other, that is called as a metachronous. Now coming to pathogenesis and genetics of a Wilms tumor. The risk factor of the Wilms tumors increase with the association with the at least 4 recognizable group of congenital malformation. Okay, there is a 4 congenital malformation associated with the Wilms tumors. First is Weger syndrome. Weger, W indicate Wilms tumor. A for aniridia, G for genital anomalies, R for mental retardation. Okay, and that is 33%, 33 chance developing a Wilms tumor. Here the deletion is occur 11p 13 chromosomes. Here the presence of germline mutation in a WT1 in a Weger syndrome that represent FAST, and occurrence of a nonsense and frame shift mutation in the second allele of WT1 that is called as a second hit. Okay, and germline abnormality also occur in a WT1 gene. Second syndrome is associated with Dennis-Drass syndrome, which is characterized by gonadal dysgenesis, like male pseudohermaphrodite, and early onset nephropathy leading to renal failure. These patients have a much higher risk for the Wilms tumors. Dennis-Drass syndrome have a much higher risk, up to 90%. And here there's a biallele inactivation of WT1 gene. Okay, and third syndrome is Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, BWSN. Here there is enlargement of body organs, organomegaly, macroglossia, hemihypertrophy, omphalocele, abnormal large cells in the adrenal cortex, adrenal cytomegaly. The genetic abnormalities here in this syndrome is genomic imprinting causes tumorogenesis. And the chromosomal abnormalities localized in chromosome 11p 15.5 for the WT2. There is also overexpression of a insulin-like growth factor 2. Mutation of a cell cycle regulatory protein like CKD and 1C, and there is mutation in gene encoding beta-catenin, up to 10% of sporadic Wilms tumors. And the fourth syndrome is Frazier syndrome. The Frazier syndromes having a slowly progressive FSCS and low incidence of Wilms tumors in comparison to this Dennis-Drass syndromes. These are the fourth syndrome associated with Wilms tumors. Now coming to sometimes examiner ask about the nephrogenic rest. What is the nephrogenic rest? That is a precursor lesion, pre-neoplastic lesion for the Wilms tumors, and they are seen in a renal parenchyma adjacent to approximately 25 to 40% unilateral tumors. Appearance of a nephrogenic rest varies from an expansible mass that is resembling Wilms tumor, hyperplastic rest, and they can be present as a sclerotic rest, consists predominantly fibrous tissue and occasionally admixed with immature tubules and glomeruli. Now coming to the morphology of the Wilms tumors. This is the gross picture of the Wilms tumors. Wilms tumors is a large solitary or vein circumscribed tumor, as we can see here. The kidney, this is a kidney, this is a lower pole, have this Wilms tumors. And the cut surface is grey, 10 grey and well circumscribed. Okay. Sometimes it's occasionally present hemorrhage, cyst, and necrosis. On histomorphology, the Wilms tumor have a triphagic combinations of there is triphagic combination in the form of blastemal, stromal, and epithelial cells type observed in vast majority of the Wilms tumors. What is the blastomal component? Blastomal component is the seeds of small blue cells with a few distinct feature, and the epithelial component that is occur in the form of abortive tubules and glomeruli. The stromal component occur in the form of cystic changes, myxoid changes, sometimes skeletal muscle differentiation also. Okay, and rarely we can see in the Wilms tumor sometimes squamous and mucinous epithelium, smooth muscles, adipocytes, cartilage, osteoid, and neurogenic tissue we can see. Okay, and in this figure we can see that is the Wilms tumor histomorphology. This is a small round cells. The seeds are present. That is indicated as a blastomal component. Okay, and these are the tubules. Okay, these tubules are epithelial component, and this is a fibrous component in the background. That is a stromal component. Okay, and the second finger that is indicate the anaplasia. Sometimes they are asking about you what is the anaplasia in a Wilms tumor. The anaplasia in a 5% Wilms tumors having a anaplasia, and the anaplasia coming in the form of hyperchromatic. These are hyperchromatic cells, atypical mitotic figures. Okay, that is anaplasia in a Wilms tumors. And clinical features of the Wilms tumors present is the large abdominal mass, hematuria, pain in abdomen, that is occurred due to traumatic incidents or intestinal obstruction. So, an appearance of the hypertension. The prognosis of Wilms tumors, the adverse prognosis include there is a loss of genetic material in chromosome 11q and 16q and gain of chromosome 1q. Wilms tumor have a risk development of secondary malignancies like a bone, soft tissue sarcoma, leukemia, lymphoma, breast cancers. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Present. Okay. Okay. Now times for the attendance. Did you understand, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.